Welcome back. New at 5:30. In this time of national reflection and turmoil, many of our institutions are under attack like few of us have ever seen before. We're questioning not only our present-day society, but the history that got us here. And you can count art as one of the casualties, specifically statues representing people and ideas that brought us, for better or worse, to the place where we are today. Few are in a better position to address the role of public art of this type and the pride that it can and the pain that it can instill in us as individuals than sculptors. And Bakersfield happens to have produced one of the nation's most renowned. Foothill High School graduate Benjamin Victor has created more sculptures on display in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda than any living artist. This week, our Bob Price sat down via Zoom for a long conversation about artistry, history, creation, and destruction with Ben Victor, the man of bronze.
All across the country, they're coming down, whether by government decree or street riot. The icons of America's past, cast in granite and bronze, are under scrutiny, under assault, like at no previous time in our nation's history. Untouchable relics of history, worthy of contextualized preservation, or commemorations of a dark legacy, now deserving of removal or obliteration. Everyone seems to have an opinion. And that includes one of America's finest and most accomplished sculptors, Bakersfield native Ben Victor, creator of 3 sculptures on display in the Capitol Rotunda. That's more than any living artist. He moved to South Dakota more than 20 years ago to play point guard, college basketball at a small school in Aberdeen, but found his passion in a sculpture class. Today, at 41, now based in Boise, Idaho, Ben Victor is one of the nation's most celebrated practitioners of his craft. What he has to say about the preservation of history, as it is conveyed through the majesty of art, may surprise you. Ben Victor sculpts bronze cast statues like these in the National Statuary Hall collection inside the U.S. Capitol. Native American author and activist Sarah Winnemucca commissioned in 2005 by the state of Nevada, making Victor, at 26, the youngest sculptor to have work displayed in the Capitol Rotunda. Groundbreaking agronomist Dr. Norman Brolog, the father of the Green Revolution, commissioned in 2014 by the state of Iowa. Native American civil rights leader Chief Standing Bear, commissioned in 2019 by the state of Nebraska. And dozens more in public squares, airports, museums, and parks across the country, which puts Ben Victor in a unique position to explain the role of statuary in our understanding of our culture, our history, and ourselves. Perhaps never before have statues been so significant in those respects, so central, so controversial.
I've watched it and I've seen how it's brought to the forefront the importance of public statuary. And that's been encouraging in a way, because I think no matter which side of the spectrum you fall on, you now have to admit and understand that this is really important. We need to have monuments to our heroes of today. And so I've seen a lot of that, like the calls to art going on right now and the projects going on. It's just immense and it's gaining momentum. It's snowballing to where there's going to be so much work in my field. So on that side, it's kind of an exciting time to be in. But then it's also, you hope that people don't just turn off their brain and destroy things. And that's a big problem. I think there's a proper way to replace monuments and maybe even relocate them.
Relocate them, Victor says, in a way that educates and enlightens and can serve to insulate us against the errors of the past. That's what Holocaust museums do. That's what, for example, a National Civil War Museum might do as well.
Why don't we have a National Civil War Museum and take those monuments that are like at a state capitol, somewhere where it may be inappropriate to have, General Lee on a Capitol Hill, because it doesn't make everybody feel included or comfortable. But if you take that same monument and you put it at a Civil War museum, all of a sudden it's in context of the Civil War. It's a historical thing, and you can learn about what he did, what his side was, and what the history was. Because I think forgetting history is not the answer, for avoiding future atrocities.
Should we conclude then that this eminent artist historian believes we should protect all controversial statuary at all costs, under all circumstances? No, not necessarily.
there can be a need to destroy too at times. Like I said, like the people were really rallied. You know, when your family was tortured by Saddam Hussein, I saw them cheering when those statues came down. You know, they wanted destruction. So, I mean, sometimes the people speak, and sometimes there is a moment where destruction is inevitable. And maybe that makes those relics more valuable still.
Ben Victor wants us to appreciate art for art's sake, but also to appreciate art as it portrays our understanding of history at the moment in time it was created, which is, in and of itself, an element of history. In Bakersfield, Robert Price, 17 News.
And a footnote here, Benjamin Victor tells Bob Price that our collective re-examination of history has created unprecedented opportunities for sculptors like himself. Look for some statues in the Capitol Rotunda to be removed to other less public settings and be replaced by new statues of historical figures. And Victor tells us he is talking to representatives of more than one U.S. state about sculpting some of those new works of art. Great story there by Bob Price. From Silicon Valley to